For years, Iran's fought with the militant group Jundallah, and now they claim to have the leader in custody. So where was he before the capture? Well, some say in an American military base in Afghanistan. Is it true? Well, here to talk to me is investigative journalist Webster Tarpley. Webster, thanks so much for joining me. So first, I want to ask you, for those people who don't know, what is Jundallah?
Well, this is Jundallah, or the Rigi Brothers organization. It's a family firm, you might say, which operates as a terrorist organization. It's widely thought to be based in Pakistan, but it operates in Iran on the other side of that border. And it's also thought to engage in a lot of smuggling, drug running, and now they've branched out into terrorism. They've blown up a mosque, killing 25 people a couple of years ago. Last October, they blew up about 50 Iranians, including some top commanders of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. So the guy's now been captured. This Abdul Malek Rigi was the #1 most wanted terrorist on the Iranian most wanted list. And they claim that in a very dramatic action, they caught him when he was trying to fly from Dubai to Kyrgyzstan, and they forced him down in Iran. Now, I have another story which says that Pakistan actually fingered him, or indeed captured him and delivered him to the Iranians. But either way, it's a tremendous victory for the Iranians, because they've essentially decapitated this very, very threatening terror group. And this group has been around, of course, for a long time. Jundallah, just a little bit of background, Seymour Hersh of The New Yorker, the London Daily Telegraph, and Brian Ross of ABC News all agree that they're on the CIA payroll. This is the $400 million in the Iran Regime Change Act approved under Bush.
Right,
this guy had been meeting with, some say, the NATO Secretary General, Jaap de Hoop Scheffer, met this terrorist, certainly NATO generals in Afghanistan, so they operate as an arm of NATO strategy in the entire region. And
now the Iranian security forces are claiming that this guy who was just caught came from an American base in Afghanistan. Tell me a little bit about that. Do you think that's true? It's
possible. They claim that that he was given an Afghan passport by the U.S., that he had a United Arab Emirates passport from the U.S. There's a lot of bad accusations being thrown by Iran against Dubai, hot corner these days. They're accusing them of having harbored this person for some time. And that's all possible. But I think what's really interesting is this Pakistani side. And for that, we just have to step back. This is all part of this battle for Baluchistan, right? And Baluchistan, of course, is this critical area. If you want to build an oil pipeline from Iran to China, it's got to go through Baluchistan, the way things are right now. And that seems to be the goal of this offensive of the United States and NATO in Helmand province in southern Afghanistan. When that started, everybody wondered, why did they pre-announce it? Why did they tell everybody they were coming? And you saw these people on television saying, well, it's because we wanted those Taliban out. We just want them to get out of Helmand. And why was that? Presumably because they wanted to drive them into Pakistan. And there is now, on the website of RIA Novosti, a statement from the Taliban of Afghanistan, where they say that the purpose of the U.S. offensive and NATO offensive in Marja, which has been capturing attention in the last couple of weeks, is to push the Taliban into Pakistan to threaten Chinese economic interests and, above all, the port of Gwadar. And you can see how this would work. You get the guerrilla fighters in there, then the U.S. can send in forces. The U.S. takes over the port of Gwadar, kicks out the Chinese, and uses it for U.S. logistics into Afghanistan.
So I want to go back for a second to this claim about Jundallah being supported by the United States. You know, right. The Iranian security forces said that he was at that American base in Afghanistan, and they also supposedly have pictures of the guy there. How did they get those pictures?
I don't know. And I've seen the picture, and it's not so clear from the picture where he actually is. But
I think it's possible that they could have sources inside the American military?
They might. And look, what I see going on here, the Pakistanis may have been a part of that too. In other words, the Pakistanis have found a way to rebel against the way the role that has been assigned them inside this U.S. strategy of using false flag, state-sponsored terrorism, in this case Jundallah, paid for by, as the Iranians say, CIA, MI6, and possibly the Israelis as well. The Pakistanis are always blamed for that, and now we see that the shoe is on the other foot, that it's actually the U.S. that pushes these things. There are a lot of long faces tonight in Langley and Foggy Bottom as a result of this arrest. The Pakistanis are gloating. The Dawn says this is a godsend for Pakistan, and I think that Pakistani role is very important. Again, the Pakistani ambassador in Tehran says, we helped.
Well, Webster Tarpley, I want to thank you so much for joining us.